T-Bone and Heather on Star 98.3 and 97.7 The Bay.
It's 8 minutes after 8 o'clock, 8:08. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. And joining me on the phone lines this morning, we have Dr. Ted Tsangaris. Sir, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh,
Yay.
thank God. I'm always a little nervous when I put somebody on hold. Phones are a little janky.
Hey, good morning, Dr. Tsangaris. Calvert Health.
First of all,
good morning.
are we saying that right?
You're perfect.
Okay.
Okay, good job, Tsangaris. How about that? Now, you are at the Sheldon E. Goldberg Center for Breast Care over in Calvert County, and October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And you have just every letter after your name, and we've been told you are the go-to guy when it comes to breast cancer and Breast Cancer Awareness Month and helping people out. And I have so many questions.
Well, I don't know about all the letters behind the name, but go ahead.
Well, you are accomplished, sir, and we're lucky to have you in Southern Maryland. I wanted to talk about, people talk about, celebrities and I guess a lot of it is fantastic that celebrities are out there. If they do get breast cancer, they talk about it and they make people think that, go get tested, get your mammograms. But I want to talk about genetics testing because one of the biggest people out there, it was Angelina Jolie. And she had tested positive for this gene for breast cancer, and she had 2 mastectomies, and everybody was like on one side of the fence or the other. If you're tested, and I know you guys do genetic testing over there, what do you tell people who have the breast cancer gene?
So great question, and you're right about celebrities. They can be both a blessing and they can be and they can be a problem. They do call attention to certain things, and I'm unfortunately old enough to remember when Nancy Reagan had breast cancer, and she made a choice to have a mastectomy during the time period when people were starting to talk about lumpectomies. And of course, that raised a controversy. And then Betty Ford, I'm really dating myself. I don't go back as far as George Washington. But so to answer your question, Angelina Jolie, it is a very controversial thing for women. The genetic testing has become more robust in that we are testing more women because there are associated cancers, so colon cancer, family pedigree that shows that it's not just breast, but there's other things, particularly things like ovarian and uterine. So good genetic testing and good genetic counseling are really important, and I stress the word counseling because it's a challenge to figure out what your risk is and then have some sense about what you want to do with that knowledge.
Right.
And so it's very important. I think it's very personal. I think it depends on where you are in your stage of life, but it's really all about counseling and know how the information about your genetic makeup and your risk is going to really affect you and how you're going to live with it. I can't tell any one person to do one thing or the other.
Right.
Hopefully we can help them understand their risk and use that information in a positive way.
Okay, go ahead, T. I'm sorry.
Well, when you're talking about cancer, and obviously you're specialized in this, but I mean, the field, the cancer study, I mean, there's been amazing things done in that field. Am I correct in that, or am I just hoping?
Absolutely. And, breast, I am just very focused on breast, but, breast has led the way in how we study cancer. It's led the way in how we screen for cancers, and then, yes, it's led the way in how we treat cancers. And I think in all three of those, if you look at how we're doing things and how the other tumor sites have copied what we do in breast, it's pretty remarkable. But, there's been great strides in how we study, how we pool our information, how we share information with multiple groups. They may be studying one thing, but we share information. That comes from the NIH and the NCI. From a screening standpoint, we've gotten very technical. And for women with breast concerns, there's the 3D mammogram, which everyone's heard about, which has really become the standard. And then from treatment, it's not enough just to give people a treatment that kind of works for the majority of people, but now we're able to actually look at individual cancers that on the surface may look the same, but when you really get into genetically, that cancer has a very different signature, and then you're able to treat individuals with different medications. Sometimes it's just a small little change, but that little change based on genetic findings of the cancer can make a huge difference. So you're absolutely right. And everyone's copying us.
Good.
Oh, good.
Well, that's good. That's a good thing to happen.
Okay, let's talk about mammograms, because a few years ago, there was, again, a little controversy, and it's confusing for just the novice like I am, about when women should go and get mammograms. Is it at 50? Is it once every 2 years? Is it once a year? They backed it down to 45 years of age, go every year. If you do have a history of breast cancer, you should go all the time. So what is your suggestion to women out there who are confused by what some of the messaging is? How often and what are the ages we should go get mammograms?
Very good. So, yes, it is confusing, and our organizations, even our health system has been not very good about sending out the message in a clear way. So here's the bottom line. I'm not the smartest guy in the world.
You sound it.
But I would tell you, and it's a moving target, no question, but if you're 40 and above and healthy, you should get a mammogram every year, period, end of discussion.
Wow, really? Okay.
Because if you read the American, so you're right, the American Cancer Society says between 40 and 44, it's your option. Between 45 and 54, every year. After 55, it's every other year. And then how long do you get it? Well, as long as you have 10 years of life expectancy. Well, nobody can plan their life that way. So 40 and above is what we would tell the average woman with the average risk. And then if you of course, if you test positive for one of the various genes, then we would alter that based on which gene you test positive for, which it could have a different risk. And then a lot of women don't have a strong family history, have things that would increase the risk, but don't test positive for a gene. So if you had a mother who, say, was 45 when she first got breast cancer, we would tell you between 5 and 7 years, some people even say 10 years prior, you should start screening mammography.
Okay.
So, but the average woman with the average risk, start at 40 and get one every year.
Okay, now let me ask you this, because you continue to use the term average woman. One of the biggest, when it comes to breast cancer, one of the biggest things I remember in history is Richard Roundtree. And it came out that Richard Roundtree had cancer. What about men? Is it so uncommon that men don't need? Obviously, men aren't getting mammograms unless they. What would you suggest for men in this?
So I think it's a good point. So men do get breast cancer. It's about 1% to 2% of the entire population.
Okay, so it's really low. Okay,
it's very low. Having said that, because of And we used to think that was sort of an aberration, a man getting breast cancer. But what we now know is men who get breast cancer have a strong genetic link to the BRCA1 and
seems to all come back to genetics.
Genetics,
it does. So, for instance, I've heard this before. A woman who says, "I have breast cancer. I have the BRCA1 gene. I don't have any daughters." Well, exactly, but your sons are at extreme risk.
Oh, really?
Now when a man walks in with breast cancer, we don't just consider it an aberration. We consider it a genetic marker that we need to think about. We need to test that individual. We need to test their offspring. So male breast cancer, though it's infrequent, it has some serious implications, and it tends to be something that's ignored. So if the answer to the question is, do men get mammograms? Not as a general rule, but men should be aware of their bodies just like everyone else.
Right.
We are something on the breast that doesn't seem quite right. You need to call attention to your healthcare provider.
We're talking with Dr. Tsangaris over at Calvert Health. Okay, so let me just let's jump ahead a little bit. What do you see down the road that because you're in the inner circle, you know what's going on. What kind of crazy, wonderful things are coming down the pipe when it comes to cancer treatment? What are they working on?
So I think, again, this personalized cancer treatment. So again, if all three of us on the surface look like we have the same breast cancer, we need to understand that it's not the same. And
what are the odds of that?
Yeah, how I might get treated and how the two of you might get treated for the same quote-unquote cancer might be very different. So that's definitely coming. It's already here. I think the other interesting thing, it's a term that gets thrown out now in cancer care, is de-escalation of cancer care, which means more is not necessarily better.
Because that was the old school of thought, right? We're going to throw everything at it right out of the gate.
Right. And
okay.
And you can't, and you have to do that when you can't be very specific with that particular cancer.
Right.
But now
kind of a shotgun approach.
Exactly. One size fits all. Some people are not going to do as well as others, and we don't know why that is. We do know why that is now, because we know that, again, those cancers aren't quite going to be the same for that entire group. So, again, as a surgeon, which is what I do, we've gone away from the big mastectomy now to just a removal of the tumor, the lymph nodes. We're very selective now in how many and if we even take lymph nodes out. And again, that multidisciplinary approach, which breast, again, was one of the first tumor sites to do, has made that all possible. So I don't have to do more surgery.
Good.
Because I have medical treatments and radiation treatments and things that are very helpful and add to the care, and the survivals are just as good, if not better.
Doctor, I know how busy you are and how sought after you are to speak and do, and we can't thank you enough and appreciate your time, but I have one more question for you.
Go for it.
People are out there listening. Everybody's going to go get genetically tested now. You're going to have a run on people coming and being genetically tested. Does everybody need to be tested? Or how would you suggest, if somebody's out there going, oh my gosh, I should be tested, I should go find out if I have this gene, what would you suggest to them before they panic and get genetic testing? Or should everybody get it?
So, well, that's a great question, and I can't answer that. Here's what I would tell you to do. Go to a certified genetic counselor and testing site. There's usually a questionnaire that it gets filled out. Hey, I have Aunt Nellie had this kind of breast cancer, and Uncle George had this, and I'm concerned. And then you start filling out these questionnaires. Remember, we always, if possible, want to test the person with the cancer first before we test the worried well. So if Uncle George is still alive, we're going to test Uncle George first to see if he has the gene before we test, say, myself, who might be very concerned about Uncle George's cancer and its risk for me. And then and as far as the genetic testing of the tumor, that's when the tumor comes out. So there's two very different things. So that's when, if we take out a malignancy in someone, we're going to send that not just for the usual, what we call tumor markers, but we're going to send it out for these genetic tests. The two most common ones that people have heard of is something called Oncotype, and the other is called Mammaprint. And these are tests that once the tumor is out. So people don't get Oncotype and Mammaprint unless they actually have cancer. But I in the flavor of what you're asking, call, fill out a form. Don't panic. Most women and men don't have a genetic predisposition for cancer.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that's great. That's great news,
Doctor,
and a great way to end.
Thank you for your time.
Sure.
You're doing great work over there. We're very fortunate to have you in our community, and we really do appreciate your time.
Well, I appreciate you all giving us a call. Thank you very much.
Thank
Have a
you,
good day.
Doctor. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See, because I was so confused by that a couple of years ago. Like my friend and I, we did the buddy thing, and we went and got mammograms together.
Yep.
And then all this news started coming out. Well, you have to have it every year. So he says at 40, you should go every year and get a mammogram, even if you're healthy or whatever. So that's good advice, because I was very confused by that. I'm not now. I'm in my 50s now, but I mean, I think that's good advice.
Guy knows what he's talking about.
Yes, he does. I love a calm, cool presence.
The worried well.
The worried well. I've never heard that before. The worried well. We're going to test your uncle with cancer first before we test the worried well.
I'm going to get a T-shirt for myself that says the worried well.
You need a T-shirt like that.
Hi, good morning. You're on with T-Bone and Heather.
Hey, guys, how are you?
Hey, good morning.
Well, the doctor's gone. Are you going to be speaking with him again?
I'm not sure.
Possibly.
What's up?
Well, what if you have a case to where you don't know your genetics?
Oh,
Well,
like you're
that's-
adopted or something like
Yeah.
that.
Well, that's a good.
I would do exactly what he said to do towards the end of that conversation. Get hooked up with the genetics organization, fill out the form, do all that stuff, and then they'll tell you whether you should be tested or not.
All righty.
Right, good luck to you.
Good advice.
All right, take care. Not my advice. It was his.
Yeah, don't do
Oh,
whatever
no,
you want.
I just play a doctor on the radio.
Yeah. Well, I know they are making. That's the key to it. Now, and I like to hear that from the people that are frontline.
Right,
people.
working at it. Yeah.
Because for so long it was just, well, we're doing what we can do. We don't know, and that's all we had to work with.
Mm-hmm.
But now they're starting to really. I almost said I'm doing it. They're starting to really unravel this thing and find out, okay, what the hell's going on in this particular cancer? And it
there
makes
are strides being made.
Yeah, it makes a big difference, and that's cool. 8:25 phone lines are open for you if you want to give us a call this morning.
Southern Maryland weather.
For today, cloudy with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms, a high of 81. Tonight, chance of showers, thunderstorms, a low of 63. And for tomorrow, it's still warm, partly sunny, chance of showers and thunderstorms with a high of 80. High tides today, Chesapeake Beach at 3:09 p.m., Point Lookout at 12:28 p.m., and Cobb Island at 2:24 this afternoon. Currently, White Plains, 68 degrees, Colton's Point, 70, Brooms Island, 69.